Hi, good morning, friends. Okay, I am here about 10 minutes early. I'm going to do some things on my end to get us set up. I'm going to turn off my camera for just a little bit. If you're watching on the replay, you can just fast forward for the next 10 minutes or so that, boy, I really need to iron these so that you're not hanging around just waiting. Okay, see you in a minute. Ah, that's why that's so hard to read. Okay. Nope, come back, come back. Hi, how are you, Janet? Good to see you. Well, good to have you here. I don't see you yet, but good to have you here. I think that it was showing me that your computer was trying to log to audio. So just let me know that that came through and that you're able to hear okay. You can do that in the chat or you can speak up, whatever you're most comfortable with. We're going to get started in just about 3 minutes. So grab yourself a drink. You're going to take notes on whatever we talk about. Get your pen or typing fingers ready.
What were you trying to tell me?
What was I saying? Oh, I was saying that I could see that your computer was trying to connect to audio and I wasn't sure if it went through. So I was checking in on you.
Me
Awesome.
ready.
I'm
Are you
so
are you still in Colorado?
still in Colorado. Yep.
I
Yep.
see ski materials behind you, I think.
Yeah, we're still trying to get the place ready to rent. We're gonna rent out the top. So I can hear my husband like stomping around upstairs doing whatever he's doing to try to get it ready to be rented out. It's been an adventure.
It's okay.
Yeah. Hey, good to see you, Rachel.
Hello. I travel a lot too, so my background's always changed Because, hey, I just need a room with a door. Go to work, we'll visit and hang out. But you go to work, I'll work, we'll chill.
Exactly. When my husband and I first started working from home, because he gets to work from home too, I remember talking to my dad and he's like, don't you get sick of each other? Like you're together all the time. I was like, I never see him during the day. I'm literally in my office working. He's in his office working. And then, you know, like maybe we'll see each other at lunch, maybe not. So no. Red Alicia, welcome. Hi.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good seeing
Okay,
you
guys.
all.
We're going to get started right on time. And you'll see that I turned on the transcription, the closed captioning. If I ever forget to do that, please feel free to remind me. I have to do it manually each time. And if that's ever in your way of being able to see something, you can move it around your screen. So just grab it with your cursor and you can wiggle it around and get it out of your way. We will have these transcriptions saved for you. So if ever you miss one of these meetings and you're like, I don't have time to watch that whole thing, and you just want to quickly scan through the transcription, you can do that as well. It's our first day. Are we excited? I love it. I'm so pumped to get to work with you guys. And I'm really glad that you chose to do the level up, because we're going to get to do so much more like intimate work together than we can do in a Q&A session. So we're going to get started every single time we meet with wins, and we're going to be a small group. Typically, I would have us put the wins in the chat, but we're a small group. So let's, you know, build some community and talk out loud. Typically, I'm going to have you share wins, and wins are going to be something like an action that you took that moved the needle forward, either in having more balance in your life or moving your business forward. Because I mean, all of us that are doing this are generally doing it for the same reason, right? We want some more freedom. We want some more flexibility. We want to be able to be financially, you know, stable or better. And so having balance is just as important as like getting on that hamster wheel and running hard at your business goals. So we're going to recognize both. I know that it's the first week and only midway through the first week, so you may not have any business related like, yay, I did this, but you may. So let's make space. What can you claim as a win so far this week? Go for it.
Finally opened my business checking account. sorry, Renalisa.
So I can wait.
I just finally opened my checking accounts and got the business license. Like, for example, I've been doing online therapy since I moved back from Japan about a year ago, but I've worked with other companies, and I'm with Headway, but I never realized I am a business owner in working with them. So I'm finally going to run my business like a business and not like, oh, I'm just working and getting paid.
Nice. Way to go. Okay. I should have told you guys this. So to make it so that we're not talking over each other, let's all start with mics off. And then when you're going to talk, turn your mic on, and that'll give us kind of a cue. And y'all, I would rather we talk over each other any day of the week than nobody talk, which is the alternative. So let's speak up. And Bradlicia, can you tell me if I'm saying your name right? Because I've been saying it in my head this way for quite a while, and I want to make sure I got it right.
I know. So we've been talking for a couple of years, and I'm like, she always gets it right. It's perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Yay. Good. All right. What's your win?
My win is I resigned from my group practice. So I'm already in my practice. I mean, nothing's really built, but I'm in it. I get to pay myself next week on a Tuesday, and it just feels really good. And so I'm excited about doing this so I can get the groundwork, but like my clients are coming with me. We're currently switching from simple practice to simple practice. Like it's all happening. So that's my big win.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Gosh, that's amazing. You guys are like crushing it already. I expected you to be like, well, I mean, we really haven't had time to get started yet. Way to go, Janet. What about you?
Well, this week I made an appointment with my CPA to kind of figure out what taxes I'm going to need to pay and if I need to pay into Social Security and Medicare and all that, because I have no idea. I'm just
Awesome.
saving some money and, fearfully, like I'm going to tread over there Friday and have an appointment and say, what do I do? And I started reading through some of the materials and that you already gave us and seeing how I can like put my letterhead on some of the templates and kind of tweak them to where they fit, my practice. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh man, I am pumped for you guys. And I love it when we do this small group coaching, wherever you are in your business, I'm able to meet you there and help you get farther ahead. So it's also really nice because it sounds like, we're all in different places, but being able to coach you in the moment is going to be able to take you further. Let me ask you this. So let me get a kind of a good sense of where everybody is. Does everybody have a business entity already? So like an LLC or PLC or an S Corp? Okay. No, over here. You do. Okay. And the LLC is probably the easiest to get. What state are you in, Bradlicia?
Yeah, so I guess technically I do, like I'm gonna do sole proprietorship right now. I'm in California. So
Okay.
I have to figure out the PLLC situation. Or is it PLLC or is it something else in California?
I think it's a PLC, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. But right now, sole proprietorship.
Okay.
It's my understanding, because I'm in some other Facebook groups, Lisa, that in California, you can't be just an LLC as a sole proprietorship. You have to be a PLLC.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that's right. I think it's sole proprietorship or the PLLC. I think they prefer we be sole proprietors so we don't have the
Okay.
protection.
I
But
just
there's
know
like-
that LLC was not available in
Right.
California. It had to be a PLLC then.
Right. No, you're right.
So what degree types have we got going on here? So, because I'm on my brain's already like California is the biggest pain in the butt when it comes to taxes and licensure. So now let's assess let's do states first. So we got California. Where are you, Janet?
I'm in Texas and I'm LPC and LCDC.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm an LCSW in Florida.
Okay, awesome. And what's your degree type? Bradlicia?
Oh my God, blanking. It's the degree type, master's in clinical psychology or LMFT.
Yeah, LMFT. Are you an LMFT?
Yes.
Oh, sweet. Okay. All right. We've got some cool degrees. Now, I'm glad that nobody is a social worker in California because that's like the hardest of the hard. We've got like the hardest ethics code and the hardest licensure stuff. Those two things combined, super tough. Okay. So we're going to go around and get to know each other a little bit and make room for questions. So every week when you come in, have your questions handy. You'll also have time and space to ask questions in the Q&A, but I can go a whole lot deeper with you when we're meeting here and it's just the few of us. So don't ever feel like you need to save your questions for the Q&A. You'll have more by the time that we get there. So I'm going to start with you, Janet. Tell me a little bit about where you are in your business and what made you choose to do step-by-step and to do the small group coaching.
Well, I resigned from I was a crisis counselor for a school district for like 3 years during the pandemic, and it like absolutely traumatized me because there were 3 of us for 12 schools.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so both my colleague and I spent months just kind of recovering, but I resigned and decided I want to help people, but I need to do it in a way that doesn't kill me.
Mhm.
And so in June, I set up my private practice and got on the different platforms like Alma, Sondermind, Headway. I'm
Mhm.
trying to get off Sondermine right now because I don't like them at all. And so started that, set up my business, and have been seeing clients virtually since June. So I'm really new.
Mhm.
And I really want to be able to build, why I'm here is I want to be able to build a private practice that I can get some private pay clients. I don't have to mess with insurance. I can make enough money so that I don't have to kill myself, have 50 clients a week to be able to pay my mortgage.
Mhm.
And so that's why I just decided to do this, because I want to make sure all my ducks are in a row.
Mhm.
I've got some things that I think are pretty solid, but I just want to check the boxes. I'm a very anxious person, so
Mhm.
um,
As my
and build a
Lexapro
life.
sits next to me. I totally get it. Get it. Yeah. Yeah. You can use my neuroses. When I built the course, when I first started practicing, nobody was doing it. And so I was really neurotic. And you'll notice in the course, and I'll give you this warning ahead of time, you have the option to do the neurotic version of a lesson or the easy version. And I would recommend that you do not do the neurotic version every time. Pick one to do the neurotic version on, and the rest pick the easy button. So just for example, like with picking I don't think any of you are in this position, but if you're just picking your technology, you could spend for freaking ever going through all of the options that are available to you, going through that lesson over and over again. Or just pick the ones that I tell you to pick and be done and move on to the next lesson, right? So you're not gonna go ahead, Rachel.
I am there with picking my EHR because for
Okay,
the
sweet.
other companies I work with, there's the EHR, but like with Headway and stuff, and I've just been doing Microsoft Word notes to just fill in there. But there's so many to choose from. I have analysis paralysis because I'm just like, which is the better one versus just picking one, running with it, and if it doesn't work, change. So I'm there.
Exactly. None of them will not work. So really, like simple practice, therapy notes, Theranest. They're the big heavy hitters. All of them are good. Go on YouTube and watch somebody using it on the back end to see which one feels most natural to you, because that's really the only difference between them. You can kind of look at pricing, of course, and if that's important, use that feature. I used iTherapy. It's probably the most expensive one out there, but I just liked that it had everything. So I didn't have to think about anything. All the stuff was included. But if you've already got everything and you just need the EHR, I'd pick one of those three and be done and move on. So as you go through the course, it can be overwhelming because there's a lot of material in there. So please don't feel like you need to dive deep into every single lesson. I would pick one lesson to dive deep into and then let the rest go. You don't have to be neurotic. And remember, you have lifetime access to it. So you can go back through it. And we have people go back through it all the time. So you can go back through and be like, I want to like buff up my emergency response stuff. I'm going to spend some time in that one. Okay. All right, cool. So Rachel, let's come to you next and just kind of follow in the circle here. Where are you in your practice and what made you pick the course?
I picked the course versus your marketing course because I've taken a lot of your free courses over the past couple of years. I picked this one because, again, I'm starting out very basic. Like when I first I got my degree. I worked in community mental health, and they were making changes I wasn't happy with, but I got recruited and I became a contractor, and I moved over to Japan for 4.5 years and supported military people. So when I got back, all right, I'll work with a couple of these different online companies. I'm with one that pays kind of low called ThriveWorks, but they provide me consistent referrals, and they have pretty high ethics with certain things. And, so I want to get away from them and kind of build my own referrals, but I don't have all my paperwork in place. I've always worked with mandated clients, so I don't even really know my niche of what I like. I know personality wise, but I worked in domestic abuse for the military, but the trainings and the curriculums they use, I found very basic.
Yeah.
And I'm just, so it's, I think staying with ThriveWorks works for now till I can really figure out my niche, really. But I do want to eventually get into private practice. I want more money. I want to be paid my worth.
Yes. 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 Be nice to
So,
pay our bills, right? I mean, you know.
I mean, I'm able to pay my bills and stuff like that, but when you do international moves, there's some debt that, you know, and it's just like, no, this is not the life that I want for myself. So,
Yes.
but again, I want to be paid my worth, and like certain in Florida, certain insurances like through Headway, I feel I get paid my worth. So
Yeah.
even when I go into private practice, these are the only insurances I'm taking. This is the link if you want to use it. But, and I'm going to have probably a disclaimer on my website, which is still in the process of getting built and everything, that like, hey, if you choose to use insurance, they kind of dictate how it goes and the level of autonomy that you want to have. Yeah, I may have to provide them this information and let the person make the choice. But so that's kind of where I'm going, but like getting all my ducks in a row before I get there and giving myself the time to get there and not putting so much pressure. Like I have to have all this done real quick, because then the type of person I am, too much like that and I get too overwhelmed, I will procrastinate until the day is long and find everything else to do besides doing what I need to.
Absolutely. Okay. So pro tip for both of you. When you're in the course, you know, you're going to get that weekly email. That's basically like, you know, there are 3 tiers in that email and they say like, is this you? Is this you? Or is this you? And then it's a kind of a choose your own adventure. If this is you, then do this and this. If this is you, then do this and this. Every single week, I want you to be taking action on one of the marketing pieces. So you'll see in the course, there's the whole marketing section and it's in order of what you should do. Every week, make sure that you're not just working on the back end of building the practice, but you're working on the front end of getting clients. And the reason that I'm saying this is I see lots of people who wait to do that because they're like, well, I want to get all my ducks perfectly in a row before I start getting clients in the door. And the reality is that it takes a while for your marketing efforts to yield fruit. So you want to start doing it now, so that by the time you're ready for clients, they're already coming in the door. And if by chance you get a private pay client like, I want to pay you $225 tomorrow, then hit me up and let's talk about it, because we can get stuff thrown together real quick for you to be able to get that person in the door. So don't stress. There's actually even a part in the course that says quick start. And we built it for people who got clients in the door faster than they thought that they would, and at good rates, and they wanted to take them. And I'm like, okay, just do this stuff right here. And then you can go ahead and bring them in. So I want you to start getting clients in, because the only way to build your confidence in the private pay side of your practice is to have private pay clients coming in. That's the way that your confidence will get built. All right, Bradlecia, talk to us about where you are and why you chose this.
So where I am is at the very beginning. And I'm moving from a group practice that was online. And at first I was thinking like, oh, you know, I've been doing this for a while. Like I'm going to know some stuff. I know nothing. And I know nothing. So I'm doing the start from scratch part of the course. What was the second question? Was it like, how did you choose this course?
Yeah. What are you looking for out of the course?
Okay. Really to build a solid foundation and a practice that I feel happy working in. Not that I didn't feel happy in the group practice. It was just certain things like meeting of the minds. It was not always there. I am an entrepreneur at heart. They are doing some entrepreneurial things, but it just was not like the money and the marketing and that sort of thing was not clicking and coming together because I'm like, we need to do these things. And they're like, I don't know, like that feels icky. So I was like, you know what, I kind of need to be on my own.
Yeah.
I need to go my own way because I'm thinking about this in a way. And she's not in the therapist entrepreneurial space. So a lot of these conversations are already happening. I was not being outlandish.
Right.
So it's like I kind of need to, separate and go my own way. Also, this was just kind of always in the making. I think if I looked at my birth chart, there's something in there about not wanting to work for anyone because I've just never been able to do it. It's never been exciting. Not never. I'm doing absolutes, but like most of the time, it's like this. I can't do this. I can't work for anyone else. This does not make me happy. So this was always in the works. I knew that I was always gonna, end up in private practice. I wasn't sure if I would own my own private practice, but here we are. And I'm actually thinking about hiring, like once this is set, hiring at least one person this year. Just at least like give myself some room because I'm noticing that I'm really burnt out at the end of the year.
Yes.
So it's like I want to give myself some space, get this, settled, create a practice that I'm really happy working in that feels really good to me, and then bring a person in to something that already feels really good and giving my space and room.
Love it. Love it. Are you two also thinking about entrepreneurial side hustle-y kind of stuff? Got a yes from Rachel, got a maybe from Janet. I want to show you something real quick. I want to show you a little something. Okay. I'm going to show you Alicia Johnson. She did the marketing intensive and she's just a freaking go-getter. And we very, very lightly talked about some side hustle opportunities, and everything that we talked about, she took action on and took action like wicked fast. So I want to show you something she created that might be kind of an easy-ish to make side hustle, even if it's not highly profitable right away, because there's some back-end marketing that needs to happen. But I was just so freaking impressed that she was able to pull this together. And I know the tools she used, and they're easy to use tools. So let me just show you. I just want to get you a little bit excited. Okay, so are you seeing a picture of a very smiley person in an olive green shirt right now? Yeah? I want to make sure. Okay. So she made this website on something called Card, which is like the easiest way to make a website on the planet. It's very, very simple. And she had created some workbooks in a program called Canva, which I'll teach you how to use. It's very, very easy. And she just has it on here for sale for $47. She threw this literally together in like 2 hours. People can land here. She made a little journaling for boundaries book for 14 smackers, 16 templates to organize your work-life balance, $9, burnout bootcamp masterclass. And this is a side hustle that she's creating. I didn't have my glasses were not honing in. I'm like, girl, $5,000. No, it's $49.99. It's 2.5 hours of content that she created. And then she's got planners and journals and things like that. So if you're the sort of person that when you're seeing your therapy clients, you're coming up with workbook ideas or worksheet ideas, there's no reason that something that you create for your own client can't be something that lives on your website for a small fee that any random person who happens across it might grab. You won't make a ton of money this way because there does need to be a marketing strategy behind it if you're going to make lots and lots of bucks. But if you're already going to make something cool for a client anyway, it might as well exist on your website in a way that it can earn some money on the side. So just wanted to share that with you in case that is another way, in addition to a group practice or something like that, that you might be interested in earning revenue. I love creating workbooks for my clients and worksheets for my clients. It's going to happen anyway. So if I can also turn that into something that's going to generate a little bit income here and there, why not? All right, let's open it up to questions. We've gotten to know each other a little bit. What questions do you have for me today? And I will always put the onus on you to bring questions. So this is your first experience of that. Janet, go ahead.
it's great to get to know y'all, actually. So thank you. I'm excited. I think I want to catch your entrepreneurial spirit, Bradicia. So I was wondering about raising rates, and even though I'm not there yet, I have one private pay client, and she's at 125, but I want to raise my rates to 175.
Mhm.
Can I go ahead and put that on my website and Psychology Today, even though I'm not quite prepared for like all the things?
Absolutely. Yes. You might as well, because what is it going to hurt? So if you're not in a position where you're like, I need clients in the door right now, you might as well put your higher rate out there. You will always get fewer calls. The higher your rate, the fewer calls you're going to get. That's totally normal. We need fewer clients when we have a higher rate. So that's okay. So yeah, I would go ahead and put it out there. You will need to alert any insurance companies that you're paneled with. And I think you're using only these intermediary companies. You're not directly paneled with insurance companies. Awesome. If you're directly paneled, you do have to let them know when your rate changes. Sometimes that will change how much they reimburse you. Sometimes it won't. But it sounds like in your case, you might not have to do that because you're with these intermediary companies. So yeah, go ahead and change it. And then if you get in a position where you're like, all right, I'm not getting calls, but I'm super ready to get clients in the door and I need some cash, then we do something like we put a line at the beginning of your Psychology Today profile that says, for the month of January, I have 2 sliding scale spots available at $100 a session or $125 a session or something like that. And that way we are being able to kind of almost like a flash sale, put something out there that's going to generate quick interest and get people in the door. And then we peel that away and we can go back to our 175 or whatever it happens to be. Yeah, go ahead and make that change. Other questions?
Okay, so I didn't think I had a question about this, but since we're asking about just like practice, things in practice, like I, through the exercises, decided on my current schedule, which I could not lock down for like 2 weeks now. But we've talked about this. I really want to just work on Mondays and Tuesdays, and my capacity is 3 clients. I could do 4, but they're going to need to really talk through that session. So 3 is just the best. They're getting the best bet with me if I only see 3 clients. I have a client who expressed being a little upset about my increased rates, even though she's going to be at the same rate for like the next 3 months. And then I'm only going up $10, what you suggested. She was upset still. Like, I can't believe this is going up, and she's biweekly. So it's not even a weekly thing. So she typically meets me on Tuesdays at 8 a.m., but then a weekly client needed that spot. And I typically move into Wednesdays if they can't do Monday or Tuesday. I don't know if her schedule has changed, so I'm hoping she can do something on Monday, which I do have an open spot there. But if she can't, like, how would you handle like coming back from a vacation and like, hey, this is my new schedule. I've already upset you about the fee. If this doesn't work, it's like, I don't know if I have a spot for her. And that feels, I don't love it.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Let me ask a few questions so I have the full context. How recently, how long had she been at her rate before you shared with her that the rate was going up?
It's been almost a year.
Okay. And what was her context? Even if it's more like her psychology, what was her context for being upset? What do you think that was about for her?
She just kept saying, she's talking about her and her husband. We have things that we need to pay for. We have trips we're trying to go on.
Sorry. Me too.
right, where it was like just like different things things they need to pay for, trips they need to go on. But that was part of, or actually what ended up having me give her a bi-weekly schedule, because I don't offer bi-weekly. But I did it for her because I enjoyed our work, and she was coming at a time that nobody really wanted at the time, and now everyone wants 8 a.m. She was just kind of like, I got hit with this fat bill from school, and like, I don't know if I can keep coming. And I was like, well, what about bi-weekly? You're at a time where I can kind of easily switch you out. Like, does that work? And we did that. So yeah, I'm already offering something that I don't offer to her. But it was, yeah, I need to pay for things. I need to go on trips.
Yeah. And what theoretical model do you tend to practice from? So like, depending on where you come from, depends on how you handle what she's saying. So,
Mhm.
how did you handle where you come from?
So I'm trained mostly in narrative, and some psychodynamic. We didn't stay on it long. I think because I was burnt out. I was just kind of in a place of like, I've told all my other clients, they're just like, okay, I need to tell you about this thing. Like, like whatever. When she started to like, do her whole thing, I was like, hey, the way I ended it was repeating back to her what's happening. Like, just want to remind you, it's going to be 3 months of you at the same rate. We're not going anywhere for 3 months. And then when we do move up in April, it's going to be $10 more. So $235 for that entire month. And then in May, $245 for that entire month. Like, we're going to it's going to take us a while to get to 300. And I was like, if at any point it starts to stretch you in a way that you hate, it's uncomfortable, it doesn't work, let me know. It could be the middle of the month. Like, I don't care when it is. If it starts to feel bad, like, please talk to me. And she said, okay. And we were able to move forward into the session, but I didn't really want to I have this thing around not wanting to get into a lot of the money talk. There's a cultural thing around it. So I just kind of I don't want to do it, because there's this idea, and I don't think she's doing this to me, but there's this idea that because I'm Black, you're Black, we should be giving each other the homegirl discount. And it's like, I want to avoid that at all costs. It's like, this is the rate. And that's kind of, this is what we're doing. But like, please let me know if this ever feels awful. And I feel like I have to hold that boundary. But I'm curious on what you think. Yeah, just what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on holding a boundary. I think that I would want, and this would be a tightrope to walk, like, so it would take some emotional energy. But I'd want to know what her narrative is around the rate increase. Like, I'd want to know, like, what is the story that you're telling yourself? Like, I know, I'd probably say something like, I know what the rate needs to be for me and my family. And so, this is the rate. That's the practical part. Like, this is what's happening. That's the practical part. We've already discussed what's going to happen. And I recognize that money is an emotional thing for people. Just like anything else we might talk about in therapy, you probably have a story that's being built up around this fee increase. And that's a good place for us to do some therapeutic work. So what is the story that you have around the rate increase? And if she slides into practical stuff, I would say, I hear you. We've talked about the practical stuff. We know where we've landed with that, but let me hear the story. I had a client, when I raised my rates, everybody responded like very cool about it. One OCD client pushed back, but in a kind of funny way. And then I had one client that like pushed back hard. And when we got to the story, and we weren't able to recover, I'll be straight. We were not able to recover from it. When we got to the story, I just had not picked up the narcissism before that moment, but it was a fragile narcissism. And what she was experiencing was that if she was not special, if she wasn't getting a special rate, if she was getting treated like everybody else's rates went up, her rates went up. If she was not the special one who had some sort of special break, then she didn't matter to me. And that our relationship wasn't real, and that my care for her wasn't real, because the only way she experienced love was if she was very special. I mean, it was some work. And I have to say, I started getting resentful. I'm like, you're paying me $35 an hour, and I am doing some real heavy lifting with this narcissism and this interpersonal process stuff. Like, I feel even more strongly about this rate going up. But that was like really interesting to me. Like, oh, okay. You know, she flat out couldn't afford the rate. There was the practical part. She was going to have to graduate and transfer to somebody else. But then the emotional part was, well, none of the care that you've given me over the last 4 years was real, because I'm not special.
That's something, which makes me think, you know, if I had to case conceptualize, I think she might feel left behind.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only one that's doing biweekly. And maybe that felt special before, but like now does not feel special. I'll see, but we've got to get her scheduled first. And so that's the
Yeah.
part.
So let's come back to that piece, because I'm hearing that, you know, she's in a spot, that's her spot. And it sounds like you might be thinking of moving her from her spot for somebody else.
She's already been moved because someone else, a weekly client, needed the spot, but also she kept canceling. So I couldn't hold it. It was like, you come every 2 weeks, somebody else, a weekly client needs to be here. They're here every week doing the work. I have to move you.
Yeah. Okay. So when we frame it, and this is just advice, take it or leave it, I would be careful not to say a weekly client needs that spot, because the communication is somebody who's paying me weekly is more important than you. And so I'm going to give precedence to them.
Right.
Whereas if what you're saying is, listen, you keep canceling, and that's a spot where, like, that's a period. You just keep canceling, and that's a highly needed spot. I can't keep holding it for you. So, you know, the spot is gone. The spot is gone. You've canceled repeatedly. And so when people cancel repeatedly, they lose their spot. And now we have to find another spot.
Okay.
And it is going to bring up feelings for her. And I would be prepared to go there with her. It's not going to be fun.
I know. I mean, she's super sweet. Like, I don't want to paint her out to be like this awful client. I mean, she's got real school stuff, family stuff like going on. I mean, that happens to the best of us, but it's now come down to, it's either your school stuff, your marriage, your trips, or, you know, my freedom, my bills, my, you know, like my time. So yeah.
Could you call out that part of the Black girl discount piece that you named? Of like, that would be pretty cool, because think of the modeling, you know, like if she is even like subconsciously expecting someone to make that kind of sacrifice for her, she's also doing that for other people where she shouldn't.
Absolutely. Yes. That's what we're taught as Black women, just give. I mean, women, I think in general, just kind of give. But it's like, you are so disrespectful if you as a Black woman don't just give 100% of yourself and not have anything left. You know, like, it's like, how dare you, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, I think that might be a part of it as well. But yeah, I'm gonna have a conversation with her. I just was kind of like, how do I even get her scheduled? But yeah, we'll see.
And you can so like name it, like, you know, this is part of the dynamic. And if I bend over backwards to put you in a spot that I don't even have, then what I'm doing is modeling for you the thing that you and I are working on you doing differently.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do the thing that I want to help you to do in your life. And like, this is what I have.
Yep.
And if this doesn't work, that's okay. You can say it doesn't work, and I'll help you to find somebody with whom your schedule works so that you're not having to make sacrifices that you shouldn't have to, and I'm not either.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah. I love this conversation, and we're having a parallel conversation in the marketing intensive right now where, you know, that quote, that boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously.
Mhm.
And like that is such a huge part of running a successful business, and especially a service-based business, especially a business where we're holding other people's pain.
Yep.
If we're not figuring out where is that line where I can be safe and cared for and also be caring for you, then we're screwed. You know, we're just going to be empty vessels. And talk about like culturally in the field of, you're like, you've got a triple whammy, right? So female, Black, and in the therapy field,
Mhm.
right? Like it's sacrifice. And you hear it in all of the Facebook groups. Like your private pay. Like, I want therapy to be accessible to people. You know, like, okay, well, that's what community mental health care is for. So
Yeah, I've been shamed quite a bit from people who look like me. So
yep. And not to talk shit about men, but you don't see or hear a lot of that from men. It just isn't like, you know, it's generally not a part of the disposition or a part of the cultural upbringing. So it's interesting that we, you know, take that on. We don't have to. We do not have to here. There is never going to be any fee shaming happening in this room. Now, the messaging. So we also talked about this in an intensive. It's kind of neat how they're paralleled. If there's ever a boundary you're wanting to hold with a client, like Brad Licia was just talking about, but you're having trouble figuring out how to say it, always let's talk about it, because anything can be massaged in a messaging way to make it land better. And if it feels icky for you to say it, it's going to feel icky when they receive it. So we got to find a way to say it that feels really good for you, and it's going to feel as good as it can for them. Okay. All right, we've got about 7 minutes. So what else we got? I love that we get to go deep in here. I'm turning on my heating pad. So if you hear a beep, that's what it is. It's freaking cold out here in Colorado. Go ahead, Rachel.
All right, so I feel myself get, and it's probably related to burnout, but you know, I don't have kids at home. I'm single, you know, things like that. So I see some people in the morning. I'm definitely most focused in the morning. So then I'll take a block in the afternoon so I can go for walks, you know, get my lunch, kind of have some downtime. And then I see some people in the evenings because then I'm focused again.
Mhm.
But I'm finding a hard time and finding the balance so I can get this other work done to grow the business. Because by the time I get done with those patients in the evening, I don't want to do any more work. So I'm finding that hard.
Yep. So think about, if you think that we have 3 tanks, we've got we're doing the work of therapy and writing notes and dealing with insurance if we deal with insurance, right? We've got that tank that we have to schedule. Then we have the marketing back end kind of stuff that we have to schedule.
And I hate. I wish I had Brad Licia like that entrepreneur, because yeah.
We'll make it contagious somehow. And then you've got this other tank that is the like creative energy tank. And it's going to get filled by like not just rest, but like cool podcasts and like shows that get your brain going, good books. And we have to schedule time for all 3 things to happen. And what typically happens with therapists is they get so many clients and at a low rate, so they have to have so many, that their whole schedule is filled with that stuff. And there's no room for the other 2 tanks of stuff that need to be scheduled. So if you're in business building, at least minimally 3 to 5 hours a week are going to be focused on learning what you need to learn and implementing. So that
Okay.
might mean you need to jack up your rates so that you can see fewer clients so that you have those 3 to 5 hours. And then the same is going to be true with marketing. So that's like getting your ducks in a row time. Your marketing time, minimum 4 hours a week until you're full. That's the minimum amount of time to get it rolling.
So marketing is 4 hours.
Because
Ugh.
think you're having to learn it and do it. So it's not like you're
Okay.
going to be marketing that whole 4 hours, but you're going to be learning and implementing in that 4 hours.
And how much did you say block off to do the other stuff? Like nothing.
3 to 5.
3 to 5. Okay.
Yep.
All right,
And
that
for
sounds
me,
doable. That sounds
yeah.
doable.
For a lot of people, they can kind of shove this in between things, you know, like 30 minutes here, an hour there. I am not that person. I
Mm-mm.
need to work in blocks. So I took
Okay.
Fridays and I was like, all right, Friday is going to be my day that I'm going to do marketing, you know, and that day was nothing but the focus on marketing. And then later, when I started getting more clients, I was like, I'm going to take the 5th week of every month off. Any month that has a 5th week, I'm taking that week off, and that's going to be my side hustle time, right? And I set aside that time. And then eventually I had enough clients at high enough rates that I was like, screw this 5th week business. I'm taking a week every single month that's going to be side hustle focused. And by side hustle, I mean half the time was like learning and doing, and half the time was filling my energetic tank, like laying by the pool, going to the beach, walking to the tiki bar, right? So we got to make sure that we're building all 3 things into your calendar. And if you're finding like, I don't really have any extra time, I'm tired, then that means you're probably seeing more clients than you need to see, or doing more of something that you don't need to be doing that needs to be spent on this other side.
And I think part of my problem is because I travel. My mom's in Delaware. She's 80. She's one of the reasons I moved back from Japan, because you can't get time back.
Yeah.
And I'd lived over there for quite a while, but like I have to block off time when I drive, and I'm going to be driving over Florida the next couple of months, just visiting friends in different areas and things like that, that I feel like I have to see more people in the days that I'm not driving
Uh-huh.
to make
Okay.
my money.
Yeah. So what if your drives could be in part your learning time? So you'll notice the entire course, I've pulled the audio from all of the videos and made a podcast. So you can
Oh,
listen
wonderful.
to the entire course while you're driving. And you can always use your phone to take voice memos for yourself of like, oh, all right, do this or whatever it happens to be. So that
I
you're
listen to a lot of stuff when I'm driving, but I didn't realize the course is on podcast, so that's helpful. What's the name of the podcast, Step by Step?
It is, let me think where we put it. We used to have it on, that doesn't matter. Where is it now? It's on a web page. So you'll just go into Kartra, go into the course, and you'll find a link for the podcast. If
Okay.
you have trouble, email me and we'll get
Okay.
you hooked up. If any of you ever have trouble, just email us. The best, I'll give you a little insider secret. So the info@amberlida.com email, where you get, you know, your Kartra emails from, me, Kim, and Chantel check that email.
Okay.
But all of us are like kind of part-time in this. And so we don't check it as often as I check my personal email, which is dramberlida@gmail.com. So if you need something quickly, always, you can just email me directly. Just don't tell other people that.
Okay.
All right, friends, we're
Thank
going to
you.
wrap right on time. Take a
Okay.
10-minute break, and then I will be in our Facebook group answering questions. We only had like 2 questions submitted to the What You Jacob and Bob. So I'll also answer questions that you submit in Facebook. You'll see it go live right at the top of the hour. So bring whatever remaining questions you have. Often we won't go for the whole time. It will just depend on how many questions we have. I'm happy to hang out and be there for as long as you need me to. But if we don't have questions, then we will wrap in there. Okay, I'll see you shortly. Oh, Rachel, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I have a patient at 1, so I need to go get my lunch, but I got a lot of information in this, so.
Awesome, awesome.
See
And
you
you can
next
watch the
week.
replay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.